Hey, imagine if you went behind the scenes, actually behind the mind of someone who's helped generate over $1.5 billion in just 12 months. Get this, selling digital products. I'm talking about selling $3,000 and $5,000 financial newsletters. But I'm excited to present to you a dear mentor of mine, someone that I have been absolutely touched by when it comes to business, when it comes to investing, and his name is Mr. Michael Masterson, otherwise known as Mark Ford. And he was so gracious to spend close to about 5 hours with myself and my wife just a few months ago in Bermuda when I was attending one of their conferences. And I'm really excited because today I want to share the interview with you. This is usually stuff that I kind of keep behind the vault for just my mastermind clients, but today I decided, you know what the heck, I'm going to be releasing this and a few others. So I really hope you take the time out to listen in, to enjoy this masterclass interview. Go ahead and enjoy it. Awesome. Hey everyone, it's Shaqir Hussyin here, founder of wealthacademy.com, and today I'm super excited to see Mr. Mark Ford. Now, if you've been following me for any given time, you know I always talk about the power of mentorship. And for the last 8 years or so, not actually physically, but virtually, I've been getting mentored by Mark through his books and through the Audible audio book. And so, I tell my wife, we got to listen to this all the time. And it's such a pleasure to meet you here in Bermuda. Honestly, I feel like a fanboy, although we had a good hour lunch today. And I wanted to just interview you on a couple of questions about entrepreneurship and life. For those of you who don't know who Mark is yet, why don't you share a little bit of your background and kind of we'll go from there.
Well, I was born. No, I've been in the direct marketing business and the publishing business for about 40 years, and in 2000, make it real quick, in 2000, I started writing a blog called Early to Rise, and it was about, among other things, wealth, health, and what else was the other thing? And I don't even remember. Health, wisdom. It was based on Ben Franklin. And so it was fun to write. I wrote it for about 10 years. We had at one time almost 1 million people reading it. And during that time, I published a bunch of books, and it was on building wealth, living well, personal productivity. Anyway, that's how and it was published under the name of a pen name of Michael Masterson. So many people know me by that name. And so at the end of 10 years, I thought I had enough to say, and I retired from doing it. And then recently, I felt I had to start writing again, so I'm writing my own little blog. But also, I've been involved in the development of lots of companies, including the Agora, which is a very large publishing company. And
Mark has been very humble. Last year, it produced $1.3 billion. So that's nothing to sneeze at. And I always recommend you should find everything you can get your hands on when you find a mentor that you look up to, and go deep with that mentor. And so, firstly, it's amazing, so inspiring. I've got so many questions to ask you, but I'm going to try and keep this concise and short. But Mark, in terms of coming up with an idea, and I want to really figure out what's the most valuable things. And I'm so sure there's so many things you can share. But when it comes to marketing, you, I guess in my eyes, popularize the concept of big idea, which is the most powerful. What do you even call the big idea, and why is it something that's important?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things I've been doing lately is reteaching idea trying to teach people what we meant by big idea, and even what David Ogilvy meant when he said it. Most people have an idea that I think is incorrect. What they do is they say a big idea is whatever the idea was behind the last great big sales promotion. Whatever was working there, that's the big idea. And so that logic leads you to say whatever you thought was behind the idea behind that's the big idea. But it doesn't really, it's not really helpful to have, for example, what's the big idea behind Marlboro commercials from David Ogilvy? A man on the horse. Is that the big idea, or was the big idea equating cigarettes with machoism, or is it the big idea equating cigarettes with the outdoors or healthy or America? Who knows? Everybody can have different interpretations. So what I teach people is, and also when I looked at all my businesses, these big breakthroughs, these big marketing breakthroughs, whatever they're in, are memorized, they're talked about, they're written about. People love them. We all love them. But they don't actually account for most of the business. They may account for 20 or 30% of the business. 70% of the business is brought in by just doing the same thing over and over again, routine stuff, and I'm sure it's true of your business too. So you do have these occasional breakthroughs, and all the smart people naturally pay attention to that and they want to repeat it. But you can't forget that 70 or 80% of your business comes in from ordinary. And in our business, about 95% of the profits, if not 100% of profits, come from little ideas. So what I tell people is, you're not looking for don't worry about big idea. Worry about an emotionally compelling idea. Emotionally compelling. You know, if an idea in our industry where we're in publishing, we're selling ideas, per se, as opposed to products and services. An emotionally compelling idea is an idea that when you discover it yourself, you go, oh, that's really good. If you get that feeling and then you want to tell somebody else, then you know it's emotionally compelling. And if it's emotionally compelling to you, there's a fair chance that it'll be emotionally compelling to somebody else. So bottom line is, don't worry about so much big, because you can spend a lot of time focusing on big. Just think about what really moves you related to whether you're in the publishing business, you're selling words, you're selling advice, or if you're in any other business, even selling products or so on. That's what you're looking for.
Awesome. Yeah, in terms of when you look at, let's just say you're growing, you've built Agora to $1 billion now, and let's just say you wanted to make your first $100 million, which is in your book.
Right.
Which I'll include all the links and resources down below. But in your book, the one that I read, Redifying, the $100 million, 0 to $100 million, what would you say would be the top 3 to 5 key leverage points? You look back and you're like, that's what got us to $100 million.
Well, I mean, if you're starting from zero, the book really has basically says there are 4 stages in entrepreneurial growth. And by the way, I'm going to do another, now that we hit the big B. Yeah.
I was going to say that.
You got to have a new and revised.
But I'm looking forward to my signed copy on that one.
Yeah. But there are, I think, when you're growing a business, there are definitely distinct challenges in the very beginning, in the second stage, in the third, and the fourth. And just to go over them very quickly. The first challenge that you have in a business is something that most people don't think about. When most people open up a business, they think about getting an office, getting legal, they think about their product and how they're going to make their product perfect. I just got through talking to somebody that was ready to quit his work and start out because he had created an essence for men and everybody liked it. All his friends liked it. And I'd say, well, okay, and what about your marketing model? Have you proven that you could sell the product? And if he goes, well, I've sold it here, I've given it to my friends, I've gone over there, and but you don't actually know whether you could sell it on a scalable. So the challenge in the first is find out the optimal selling strategy for your product or service. What medium, where am I going to sell it? How am I going to sell it? How am I going to price it? What kind of copy do I need to sell it? You've got to focus 80% of your time and energy to discovering that, because when you start a business, you have a limited amount of money, right? And then you have your own time and patience. And that starts wearing down as you start doing all these other things. And if you're spending your money and your time on fixing up your office, even improving your product, that's the whole concept of Ready, Fire, Aim is focus on finding that optimum, because once you get there, then the business cash flows and pays for itself and you're safe. So that's stage one. That's the most important thing to do in stage two. In stage one, once you've done that, then now you know how to bring in new customers. So then you need a whole new set of skills. Now you need to know how to replicate that one product to another sellable product and change your business so that all the people in your business can start producing more and more. So you need to teach speed. You need to teach productivity, accuracy. There's a new skill set that your business has to acquire, and when you're hiring people and teaching them, they'll learn. It's easier in a sense creatively because replication is easier than that first product, and you don't want to stray too far away from it. And then the next stage, now you've got 2 or 3 products working, the business is getting quite big. It could be, this usually happens when you get up to between $25 and $50 million, and the type of businesses that I know. But now things are going crazy. You've got all these employees, and mistakes are being made, right? And all kinds of mistakes. And what you need to do then usually is systematize your business. You need to bring in the bureaucratic people, up till then, my point is, don't worry about that. Don't worry about doing anything right. Just get the cash going, the business going, because that's cash flow and profits will solve all the other problems when in due time. But if you don't have that, then all you have is an idea that went wrong. But once you get to that third stage, you do need to bring in pros and the smart people that can systematize your business, eliminate the efficiencies, and that's stage 3. But the problem with that is those people, if they're very good, they will try to take over your business, and they're going to try to convince you, because by that time you're tired and you don't want to do all the work, and they're very competent, and they give you the reports, and you get comfortable with them, and if you don't watch out, they're going to be running the business like, bureaucrats. And your business, business, the natural state of everything in the universe we know is entropy. Things always kind of fall apart little by little, but you never see it if you're there every day. And so if you leave your business at that point to these, I don't want to diminish them, these very important executives of order, then what happens is the business, in terms of its growth, it's the selling, the new seeds, the new sprouts starts getting smaller, and before you know it, you're in trouble. So almost as soon as these guys get your business organized, you keep them in place, but then you have to reintroduce into the business some kind of entrepreneurial culture. Whether it's doing it by the way we did it at the Agora, was that we decentralized our businesses and we gave a lot of people a lot of freedom, so that there was a great diversity of different marketing methods, different products, and so on going on, so that if one group failed, another group would, and that's how we managed to go from the 100 million to the billion.
Wow.
It's as simple as that. So
it's as simple as that. Well, I'm looking forward to reading your book. Have you started on it already or no?
The new one?
The new one?
Yeah, actually I have. I've written the introduction, and I'm going to go through my idea is I'm going to go through the old book and not rewrite the chapters so much as write kind of a shorter version of the chapter, and I want it to be for people that have read the first book and they want my new thoughts on those 4 stages rather than just replicating them.
And do we have a deadline?
I don't know, but if everything that I'm doing now in terms of my books, any thoughts I have, I put on my blog, which I publish 3 times a week, and so people can see early chapters if they want, and.
Okay.
And anyway, so that's markford.net.
There you go.
Markford.net. You're free to come and see what I've been. Some of it is just my personal journal entries, my opinions about traffic, or, I'll certainly write something about Bermuda. But some of it also is the serious stuff I'm doing for my books.
Awesome. And in terms of, let's just say, accomplishing another goal, you seem to have a lot of goals. In terms of you're just going out, you're still getting it, I didn't even know what to expect. I thought you're going to be sad because you mentioned you're retired, you're collecting art, you're collecting all sorts of stuff. What's like, how do you create goals, and then how do you go and achieve them? Do you have a goal setting process? What's that like?
Yeah, I have a very definite goal setting process, which it's very dangerous. I warn people against it. I have published it, actually. It's in one of the books I wrote called The Pledge. I think I put the basic program in there. The thing about my goal setting process is it's very organized. I teach you how to imagine long-term goals, break them down into, 5 to 7 year goals, and then the yearly goals and monthly goals. It's very organized that way. But the reward system that I give myself, it's very simple. It's not buying yourself any presents. It's just a very simple thing that you do on your computer. It becomes very addictive, and it's very hard to stop. The problem with my system is that it works too well, in my opinion. And and in fact, when I've tried to teach it to people, they notice it in the beginning, because you're just going to start working way harder than you normally do when you follow it. And some people don't like that, and they pull out, as they probably should, because I'm right now, I'm seeing a therapist to help me stop working. I want to enjoy myself. I'm 68, so.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's time for me to relax, enjoy my grandchildren.
All right. Oh, I had no idea. But anyway, you're full of life. How do you keep that full of life energy going? What's the secret to?
Well, you got to manage that too. Like everything else, you have to pay attention to it. And I have, luckily I found a sport that I like. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I do it 5 times a week, and I the other 2 days I do physical fitness training, and then I walk every day. I try to meditate. I do all the. I think the main thing is to be active, but in a way that you enjoy. Don't do physical or emotional and mental activities just because you think they're going to make you better. If you don't enjoy them, there are things out there you can enjoy. And if you enjoy it, then you'll keep doing it. And that's the secret, is to just keep active, I think.
Who's been your mentor or mentors along the way?
Well, I have this personality where I'm resistant to mentorship. I don't like getting advice, and so I've never read any books, on business or anything like that. But I would say, in retrospect, I have been greatly influenced by my partners, because my first important partner, where the business that we took from 0 to 135 million, was a very different person than me. He was much more aggressive. He was much more sales oriented. He was a much tougher negotiator, and but he was also very caring, and he treated me like a son, and so I learned a lot about selling and a lot of, let's call it the hard side of business, from him, hard skills. And then I retired, and then after that I went back to business with Bill as his partner in helping him build a business. And Bill taught me more like the Zen skills. Bill, he never negotiates hard. He never has a fight. I've never known a businessman that has success where nobody has a bad word to say about him. So I learned, it was like, I could call it a tough father and a Zen father, if I was doing the book. And I think between the two of them, I acquired most of the business skills that.
Oh, actually, it's funny because your partner Bill says, "Oh, I don't know anything."
Right.
Mark knows everything. I've learned because.
Well, that's Bill. See,
that's Bill Bonner, by the way.
And that's perfect.
Yeah.
A perfect example of Zen. Like, just think what he did. He was humble, so you like him, and he put all the work on me by telling you to talk to me. See,
so
he's very smart. See,
he literally said to me, "These things I have no idea. Right. It's best you find Mark.
Exactly.
He's going to be here."
And here I am with you, and Bill's upstairs sleeping in his.
There you go.
Room, so,
Mark, amongst all the success, obviously you've experienced setbacks, failures, bad investments. Maybe mention one of them, and then the reason why I say this is because, 2-3 years ago I was mentioning to you, I made a huge investment in this, thing I had no idea about. Something is going to go IPO, and I thought, this is it. Like, I'm made for life, and it's like, and I, they recommended to put X amount, and I went like 10, 20 times over, and I thought I kept beating myself up about it. Like, I'm so smart. How can I do this? And then I heard your podcast. And you said, you did it 40 years ago, and I thought, I got to ask him when I see him. So maybe talk about that bad past.
I'm not sure which bad decision we're referring to now, but there was certainly a bad decision I made on a real estate deal. But where the first piece of real estate I bought was sold to me by my landlord. We were renting it, and she, I didn't know anything about real estate, and she made everything so easy, and I bought it, and even though we had no money, she got us the, don't worry, I'll take care, one of those deals. And of course, it turned out to be a giant black hole where I had to actually get rich to pay off this loan. So I guess I should thank her for that. But all of my mistakes came from the same place, I would say. I got greedy and overly enthusiastic. I so wanted to believe what the person was telling me that I just jumped in instead of being skeptical. And I had, I think that the advantage for me was that I learned quickly that this was the mistake, and I took it on as part of my personality. I didn't say, I don't know how people would rationalize it. I said, that was a really dumb thing to do. And the reason it's dumb is because I am a gambling addict. That's what I've decided along. I remember I was playing the slot machines. The slot machine. Yeah. You put in a quarter, you put in another quarter, and it's totally rigged against you. It's the worst thing you can do, apparently. I was once playing the slot machines, and I had like a system. I would put in 1 quarter, then 2, then 4, then 3. Some kind of system I was in my head. And I was winning. And I was winning for about 20 minutes. And I remember doing that and thinking about the little old ladies next to me. They're so stupid. They don't know my system. I have a system. And then of course I lost my money. And then I went back to my room and I was like sweating. I'm thinking, oh my God, thank God you don't play poker. I mean, you're an insane, you actually convinced yourself that you had discovered how to beat a slot machine. So I just remember that always, and I think it's smart for people to do that. Just say, when it comes to gambling, be like you are with that. If you're renouncing alcohol, I can't help it. I need a higher power. I'm not doing it anymore. And so I try to look at investments that way. And that means I stay away from most things that are super exciting. And I look at businesses investing where if I put in $1,000 today, a month from now, I'm going to be making at least $50 back for sure. I don't want to wait to see that thing go up to 10 times when in reality, most times it won't go anywhere at all. So anyway, I spent a lot of time in this conference talking about my investment philosophy, but that's basically it.
In a short summary, what things are you investing in right now?
Well, I've always been a big real estate investor, and I continue to. People sometimes talk about the general market for real estate in this country or that, but for me, real estate is entirely a local thing, and so I just go where I can get the right income for the money I'm investing. When I invest in a rental property, I want to make sure I'm getting between 8 and 15% cash on my money.
8 to 15%?
Yeah, 8 to 15%. And if I can't do that, then I find a place where I can do it, and I find a partner. And so I've been doing that all my life, and I would say the majority of my wealth is held in real estate assets right now, almost 50%. But I have I've collected art for 20 years. I have an art business. I have a lot of interest in private businesses. I help people start businesses but everything there are other things I do. I do direct lending. But everything I do is about income. I want equity, but I want to make sure that because equity is really what that would give you the big wealth. But if I'm not going to get income from it, I'm not going to invest it. And as long as you focus on income, then you will avoid naturally the risky things, I want to invest in what I know is true today, not what may be true tomorrow. That's my basic rule of business investing.
Yeah, one thing that I remember learning from you many years ago is every day get a little bit richer.
Yeah, that was an idea that occurred to me. Every day you made sure that you were at least 10 cents richer than you were the day before. And it's not that easy to do. It means you have to give up on things where people think when they invest money that they're building their wealth. I don't think so. The only time I feel that is that when I put my money in, like on a rental property, and there's a contract and the person has to pay me, or if I'm investing in a tax lien, there's a legal obligation for somebody to pay me money. If I loan them money, then I feel like I'm getting wealthier because I can count those payments. But when I invest in something for speculation, I'm not getting wealthy. If I put $10,000 in, I'm $10,000 poorer. The person that took it is $10,000 richer. So I just try to keep that in mind, and it's helped me. I'm not somebody that can say that I got rich and I got poor 10 times. I'm just somebody that just kept getting a little bit wealthier along the way, and that's my way. And
so getting rich slowly.
Yeah, getting rich. The thing about getting rich slowly is if you stay on a slow track, you do get the big bumps up every once in a while. And in fact, I was just saying, I'm in the process of selling a house that I bought. I mean, we're selling lots of these. I'm selling all my single-family homes, but I bought a bunch of them after the crash in 2009, 2010. And I bought this house for $120,000, and at that time it was cash flowing $1,000 a month, so or $1,200 a month. So it was like $14,000. My rule is 8 times, and so 8 times, and so 8 times 14 was 120, I think, something like that. So it fit, and since then we've increased the rents. They're up to like $1,650 or $1,800, but that rental return but the value, the equity of the house has gone up because the market is high now. So now I'm not making the same percentage. My percentage compared to the current value. So what do? I sell it. I'm selling it for $450,000, so that's a nice little profit. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, I made all that income up till now. I've never lost a penny. All I've done is make more and more income. And now I'll be able to take that $450 and invest in another part of Florida where I can get 8% on that. And so really that's how, in many ways, if you can invest safely, but it becomes kind of exponential, the growth. I've gotten slow. It's slow in a way, but it's exponentially slow. So it adds up. And as the years go by, it's like the miracle of compound returns. 8% as the years go by turns into enormous, amount of money at some point in time.
Yeah. In terms of your personal work philosophy, how many hours do you do? I asked Bill Bonner this, and he looked at me and he said, I wake up 7 a.m., I work from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. You do that for 30 years, you'll be rich. And I thought, okay. So
well,
no 4-hour work week.
No, not for me, and I don't even think for Tim Ferriss either. I work. I pretty much. Let me put it this way: when I go on vacation, I promise my wife I'll only work 4 hours a day. So that'll give you an idea. And I work 7 days a week. But I work because I love to work, and I don't. Most of the work I do now, I don't get paid for. It's more charitable work. But if I do business work, then people have to pay me because I think they should.
Or they could read your books.
Yeah, they can read my books
and actually implement.
That's right.
Implement the stuff that they learn.
That's right.
In wrapping up, because I want to also respect your time, I think we have gone over by just a couple of minutes. In terms of looking back at your life now, if you were giving, I guess this interview is going to be selfish for me this time, because I just turned 30.
Right.
And we've spoken for a good couple of hours now. What kind of advice would you give me to keep doing and to maybe stay away from, and looking back now that you're a little bit more wiser than in your 30s?
Yeah, I would say this. I think it's very important for you to surround yourself with the best possible people. You're at a place in your career where you're doing very well, and you're going to be attracting all kinds of people to work for you, to help you, to partner with you. And some of those people will want to go down one path, and some will go down another path. The quality of your life later on will be determined by which path you take. And I've had this experience early on because my first mentor, he was more interested in fast money than slow money. Let me put it that way. The trouble with that is that eventually in the long run, you'll be like a hamster in a cage. You'll still be able to make your millions every year, but you're going to have to running just as hard. But if you can build your business on good relationships with good people where you have the same kind of ideas about how business should be done and service your customers properly, then as you get older, you can do what is natural, like we hope to do, which is to work less. You'll probably still work just as much, but maybe on your charities. So that would be my advice. Just the people, in the end, when you're young and you look forward to what you're going to do, when people go, it's luck, you go, no, it's not luck. And I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm working, that's what. But when you get older and you look back, you feel lucky to have met with the people that have made the difference, like with Bill, with me, and many other people that I've worked with. That makes a difference. So I think that's the number one thing I would say is pay great attention to the people, and you'll be able to, because a lot of people will be attracted to you.
Well, I'm very, very grateful for the abundant time. Consider this your charity work.
Thank you. No, not at all.
Because this has just been absolutely incredible. Just your wisdom. I mean, for more than 5 years, I've been reading your books and listening, and then getting to meet you and potentially, hopefully, doing some business together over the next few months and few years. So I really appreciate it.
That'd be great.
Mark, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope you got some really good value out of it. This is what I want you to do, okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below or head over to the blog. Head over to the blog, where down below what I'll have is links to some of his books and some extra notes that I've put together that I think you're going to get a lot of value from. So head over to the blog right now, or if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and click on the description below to get access to the links.